Testing, testing, testing.
Average business spends several percent of their revenue on information technology, usually between 5 and 7. In any
Got it. It's on. Gotcha.
The purpose of tonight's meeting is to receive public comment regarding the possible closure or consolidation of Dunlow Elementary with Genoa Elementary. And so this is a special meeting of the Board of Education. So we will start by opening the meeting, Ms. Hall.
We'll go ahead and call our special meeting of the Wayne County Board of Education to order. And if you'll stand, we'll say the pledge. Ready? I'll lead us this evening. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that all board members are present in person this evening. And we will begin with our Dunlow Elementary School hearing. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that we really appreciate you coming out this evening. We know these conversations are difficult. Nothing about this is easy. So we appreciate your time and your attention to coming and sharing your thoughts and your concerns with us. The board has specific guidelines that we have to follow. West Virginia Code 18-5-13A sets the tone and the guidelines for us for this meeting this evening. So we are following those. So we just ask a few simple guidelines from you as you speak this evening. When you come up, just state your name and how you're connected to the school. You'll direct your comments to the board, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to speak. And your board will not be able to interact or discuss or comment on anything. But if you have questions or you need to clarify anything, we'll refer to our superintendent or to our directors that are in attendance tonight, and we'll get those questions answered for you. I just want to make you aware that there's no vote that happens tonight and there's no final decisions. This is just an opportunity for you to come and give us your thoughts, your concerns, answer any questions, and make sure that we have all the information we need in order to move forward. Okay? All right, if there's no other questions, we'll turn it over to our superintendent.
Yeah, so I had attended a community meeting here at Dunlow in December and discussed some financial numbers and some enrollment numbers. So we'll just go over that really quickly, just to set the context for this evening's hearings. Over the last decade, the Wayne County Board of Education has lost approximately 1,600 students in declining enrollment. That's 1,600 students. If you took our 9 smallest buildings in the district, their enrollment would add up to a total of 1,600 students. So in the last decade, we have lost about 9 buildings worth of population out of the 18 buildings that we currently operate. Dunlow and Genoa have consistently operated under 100 students for the past decade, since 2015, 2016. And the combined enrollment of those schools would be at the lowest point that it's been since that time. In addition, the other schools that are part of the public hearings this week, East Lynn, Wayne Elementary, and Crum Pre-K through 8, have also saw declines in enrollment over the past decade. Those schools have been designated as receiving schools of both Dunlow and Genoa closed. The demographic trends for Wayne County indicate that deaths are exceeding births in the county, and so for the next decade, the birth rate is projected to continue to decline, which will result in less students in our buildings. When you look at the utilization numbers for the school, Dunlow Elementary School is setting at 23% utilization, Genoa at 38%, Wayne Elementary at 76%, Crum Pre-K through 8 at 28%, Fort Gay Pre-K through 8 at 40%, and East Lynn Elementary at 36%. And it's important to keep in mind that the recommended number from the state is between 80 and 85% for utilization. None of the schools meet that number. Wayne Elementary School is the closest at 76. All the other schools are significantly below the recommended usage number by the state. In addition, the cost for educating pupils, the state releases information on a school-by-school basis on the cost for educating students. Genoa and Dunlow are at the top of that scale, with Genoa being over $20,000 per student and Dunlow being approximately $18,000 per student. Those are the two highest expense ratios in the district. This isn't just a Dunlow and Genoa problem. This loss of enrollment has occurred countywide, as I mentioned earlier, and that has resulted in the number of positions that the state funds for the school district continually declining. And so what happens is the positions that we hold on to when we hold on to smaller buildings have to be picked up by local funds. In 2024, the number that was used for personnel outside of from local funds was approximately $9 million. In 2025, after the reduction of staff, that number was decreased to $8.5 million. But this year, there's another enrollment drop of 220 students, which is going to push that number, unless there are cuts made, back up above the $9 million figure. The district's unrestricted fund balance, or carryover budget, how much we have in excess that's not assigned for spending, in 2024 was just below $1 million. In 2025, that number was at $1.8 million, but it's far below what is recommended by the state for healthy financial picture. We are to have between $5 and $6 million in the bank by state recommendations, and the county is currently on the state financial watch list because of its fund balance. So for all the reasons that I've just stated, we're having to consider making some moves within the district that includes the closure of small buildings, and that includes possible consolidation of small buildings. So that's where we stand today. Again, I went over these numbers in a public hearing. I'm not going to belabor them this evening, but that's what we're here to receive public comment on. If you have any comments as you're speaking, you can speak to the board. Any questions, I will respond to those questions myself. Okay, so we're going to go to the sign up list, and each speaker is going to have 5 minutes to be able to speak. Ms. Hall, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Our first delegation is Ms. Kim Mills.
Can I just go over?
Yeah, you go right ahead.
You're good.
Okay. I dropped off to you just now the additional 35 community responses that we received in the second round of the community survey that we sent out after the meeting we had in December. One of the things that I'm going to talk about this evening just is how we're going to go back and I'm going to repeat some of the things that I said in 2019. We had talked about then consolidation. We had requested as a school family for consolidation, and several of those reasons do include the facilities here. We sit on 3 acres compared to 1 acre at Genoa, allowing for additional playground space and outside opportunities. If we were able to consolidate and return to one of everything, it will require 9 classrooms. That is 1 of everything, including preschool, 2 special education classrooms. We have 10 here at Dunlow, and Genoa has 7. Our classrooms are already configured to support Department of Ed requirements for kindergarten and preschool, along with our 1% program with designated OTPT spaces and their hygiene in the classroom. This infrastructure allows us to take all of those students, just like it would have the last time, without any remodeling or instructional disruption. Also, we have a dedicated bus loop parking, and all of our things are off of 152, providing safety that is not necessarily accessible down the road. When we were denied the option to consolidate the last time, our families were very vocal about they did not appreciate that, and it also allowed us to have to keep our split classrooms. Split classrooms are a major part of the reason why our families continue to leave here to go somewhere else, because they want their students to have grade level specific instruction, not 2 grade level instruction, and we've not been able to achieve that in the current financial status. With 21, we had a little minor flood. I will talk about it, but that allowed us to remodel, upgrade, do a complete asbestos abatement, and have a perfectly safe facility for students. And then our academics still didn't falter. So one of the things that we're really proud of is the fact that between 22 and 25, we consistently met or partially met our accountability targets for the West Virginia Department of Education summative exams. And in 2023, we're the only school county-wide at any grade level to exceed standards in the measures of academic progress relating to the instruction of special education students. We have demonstrated the ability for long-term stability and growth and capacity that we think is a plus for us. Just this winter, we had received our scores from the STAR benchmark in the county. The Steffies shared those with the data team. And our school showed the strongest academic growth of any elementary school in Wayne County with reading and with math. So our reading proficiency was a 19-point gain, which was the largest in the county, and our math proficiency was a 25-point gain, again, the highest growth in math in the county. Other notable things in those scores, our first grade had the largest improvement countywide, and our third grade reading and math were the highest in the district. So we are doing those things despite the challenges that are sent our way each and every year. So we ask that you take that into consideration and think what we could do if we had everybody here along with one of everything like it was. The last time we were one of everything, the West Virginia Department of Ed had issued report cards. We had a B, and we were 0.3 of a point behind Eastland Elementary School, who also scored a B. And they were the top elementary school in the county, and that was the year before they were a national blue ribbon school. They got to go on with one of everything and be a blue ribbon school, and all of our staff was given a ribbon transfer letter and said, sorry, you're going to split grade. So we're asking to take on students to eliminate that and continue the growth that we've had.
All right, next up is Sarah Stevens.
Okay, so my name is Sarah Stevens. My daughter is a kindergartner. The key points in my life story, I've sent an email so you guys might know my story, but my daughter is in low percent. I'm also a teacher, so I know the struggles of what it's like to, for a kid like mine. All summer long, I went and tried to figure out where I was going to send her. I'm at Tulsa, so I went over somewhere kind of close to me, just in case of emergencies. And I had sent a message out, like a thing on Facebook, whatever, asking what were my options, like how did my kids that had graduated and I was friends with feel about the different schools. And I got messages back saying, please don't send her to the big schools, because they had served so many, like, I hate to say, but horror stories of kids like that. For example, at one of the schools were gay, one of the kids were like physically harmed, bruising and stuff like that. From, I've not heard physical issues, but very understaffed, and so that kind of worried me. My daughter's a runner. She will run out of buildings and try to eat whatever she can find. And that brings me back to where I could send her, which is Wayne. I live on the hill, currently have no water, it's great. But, you know, I went to Wayne. I'm a product of Wayne. I wasn't in pioneer. And there's a child just like mine. She's a year older. I know her parents. She's gotten out of the classroom because there's not enough staff at Wayne, the 1% rate, like enough to like watch kids like ours. And like I'm crazy enough to know that I can't handle the thought of my daughter doing that. But at Dunlow, there might only be 2 adults in that room, but I know she's kept and she's safe and she's loved no differently than I love her myself. So with that, I made a list of the things I wanted to talk about. Being from Wayne, I went to Wayne during the 90s, the height of like the crazy, all the Wayne people. My daughter is autistic because of genetics, right? So I would sit in the cafeteria and have meltdowns. Now I know what it's called. And I had a friend who had an older sister, and she would pet me and try to make me calm down. But every single morning I would have what I thought was just nervous, and it was just too much. At 40 kids, my daughter is still struggling, but I can't imagine sending her somewhere where there's like 500, right? Like, I literally can't imagine. And that also goes into the fact that Dunlow is a family. Like, I've only met some of these people a couple times, but I already know who their kids are. My daughter was out sick for a week this year with impetigo. And they told me that when she came back, everyone went, "Oh my God, Ellie's back, she's back." And my daughter's not. My daughter hugs people here. She's part of the family. There's another mom here, I think she's here. Her daughter is okay with being friends with the daughter with her kid that can't talk. She is like, you know, it doesn't bother her to not be friends with, you know, my daughter can respond. So, with her being so special needs, she's like, I mean, level 3. If you would consolidate at Nova, I mean, I know there's like space issues and stuff, but I have to get out and unlevel my daughter and walk her to the door for handoff. If you consolidate at Genoa, I have to park. We're also in 52, which I cross daily, and people fly, no matter if those things are blinking or not, with a record. So that adds another layer of concern for parents like me. And then my daughter has also had a lot of growth in just a few months she's been here. Like, when she started here, she was absolutely nonverbal. Like, every once in a while she would say daddy. I think it was like, what, the first week or 2, she said outside, because the little boys said things outside. She said, "I love you" on Christmas Day. Like, that's because of the school, because of the kids here, because of the teachers here. And I'll end it soon because I'm going to shower. That's where I'm heading next. But I did a little bit of the math when you were sitting back there, and if I did it correctly, hopefully. I know that the goal is 25 kids roughly in a classroom, and they want the state 170%. That's 20 kids per classroom. And mind you, my daughter is not part of that. But I know as a teacher, that's miserable. Kids today are very different than when we all went to school. And everyone needs a buffer. And I know that's not an issue that you guys can solve, you can fix, something that we all need to come together as. But I have a 25 classroom right now of 9th to 12th graders for a yearbook, and it's crazy at times.
Time, ma'am.
If you can wrap up.
Yep, okay, that's it. But yeah, so just thank you guys for taking the comments and stuff, and have a good evening. I'm off to go shower.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Corby Dillon. Sure you get that time.
If you don't know
who I am. I'm Corbin Dillon. I represent this area in the West Virginia House of Delegates. Now, I've lived in this community, general part of the state, in Wayne County, all my life. My parents were both teachers. My wife's parents were both teachers. I've been around education all my life. Well, I want to say to the parents who are here tonight, first of all, thank you for being willing to show up. This is exactly what it means. Being willing to come out and do what you're doing to make your voices known. You guys were right. You're right to trust your instincts. You're right to insist that if your child is enrolled in a public school, it needs to be a public school that you know and trust, and a community that you know and trust. Not some school wherever someone else has decided to send your child. And the research bears that out. The research indicates, Marshall's done studies on this, and other universities have done studies on this. The research indicates that children who go to schools where they have access to their natural social support from their own communities, they far exceed and do much better than students who don't, especially when they come from low SES households. Now, a couple of years ago, when this issue first came up, I attended a meeting and I asked the Board of Education to give the legislature a couple of years to work on this. A full legislative cycle is 2 years. Now, last year, I was discouraged to see that it was difficult getting any sort of effort underway in the legislature, and at times it felt like maybe I was kind of pulling, trying to pull the train alone. However, I'm encouraged this year to report that I do see a greater level of interest in the issue of both the school aid formula as well as consolidations. And I can say that that level of interest is not exclusive to just the House or just the Senate or to just delegates or senators of a certain rank. I can report that there is interest from higher levels, including the Speaker, and including some higher ranking senators. So that's encouraging. And I also want to remind everyone that both the legislature and other economic factors have been at work to change the way West Virginia is viewed in the country. We have some real positive aspects coming down the pike here, and economically in particular, I can point to the fact that the governor just made an announcement a couple days ago, I think it was just yesterday, of a considerably large coal processing plant that's going to be located in Mason County, which is not that far from us. And I also would remind everyone that West Virginia is currently at the top of the number of states for people moving into the state. So we're right at the top of the list of states for people moving in. Why is that happening? Some good things are happening in the state. What's that? Well, I can't speak to that right now, but what I can say is that Dunlow and Genoa, even though things look a little bit bleak right now, Dunlow and Genoa are not responsible for the $4 million or the $6 million deficit that we're facing as a county. They should not be treated as such. We need to understand that Dunlow and Genoa financially make up a very small part of the overall picture. Also, if we're looking at the financials themselves, which I have requested some information from different directions, some of it from the Board of Education, some of it from the state auditor, lots of different directions, I can offer a couple suggestions that might be helpful when it comes to freeing up some additional dollars. I would recommend looking at some of the purchase curriculum and some of the technology spending that goes on in the county. I think you can find dollar figures that get way up there in the hundreds of thousands, if not beyond that. I think we need to look at the numbers of non-instructional professional staff in different locations around the county, and I think we need to make some hard decisions. The board needs to make some hard decisions about staffing levels.
Time.
Thank you. I'll finish with this. Finally, people keep the faith, keep doing what you're doing. And board, see if you can partner with the county commission to see if you can bring in and promote Wayne County as a destination for some of these people who are interested in living in West Virginia. Thank you.
All right, up next, Ms. Carolyn Maynard.
So I just want to talk about the staff. They are great. My son, when he first started going here, is, I'm Evan James Maynard, I'm Evan James Maynard. And still to this day, he won the principal award last year. And she said, Evan James Maynard, because that's what he likes to be called. And they all know him, and he runs and hugs all of them. And it's really a nice family atmosphere. And I'm sure that's way everywhere, I guess. I mean, he's my only son. It's the only school I've ever known here. But it's just a nice thing. Like, you're talking about the buses. They can pull up, or I can pull in behind a bus, and the teacher or principal, whoever's doing the loading of the vehicles, knows it's me. I don't have to have a little sign saying Maynard or all those things that you see in Wayne. We don't have to do that. They know all the people. They know all of them. Also, I'm not from around here, but my in-laws are. My father-in-law, who was in his 70s, I won't give his age, went to this school. I mean, it's like a family deal. All the families go to this school. It's a generational thing. And I also like when, just today, my son was sick. Janet, the secretary, says, hey, Carolyn, Evan's sick. He's not feeling good. I can come right away. You know, we live 5 minutes from here. It's nice to be able, especially at elementary school, it's nice to be able to come and pick him up fast. If he went to Crow, if he went to East Lynn, if he went to Wayne, that's a 30-minute drive. What if he's real sick? You know, elementary schools is, I understand he's gonna have to go somewhere in middle school, but elementary schools when they're young, I mean, imagine being a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old in preschool and saying, hey, your baby's sick, he's vomiting, they have a fever, you know, whatever. You have to get a phone call and drive a half an hour to go get your child. That's nerve-wracking. I did hear Crumb and Wayne are full. I know you just told us that, I know you told us that they're not, but I've heard from rumors, you know, they're full, they have too many students, they'll kind of get lost. And then another one that I'm really worried about is flooding. Dunlow floods a lot. So does Crumb, so does the way to Wayne. So let's say my son went to Crumb. So that's gonna flood at Crumb before it floods at Dunlow. This school is like, hey, we're closing, we have like, I don't know, 2 hours to get them. But let's say Crumb isn't that good and they don't know that it floods all the way up into Dunlow or all the way up into Dunlow. Is our kids gonna get stuck at Crumb because it's flooded? And the same thing with Wayne. If it's flooded in Dunlow and it's not in Wayne because it doesn't really flood in Wayne that I know of, are they gonna get stuck in Wayne because I can't go out and get them in Dunlow? I mean, I'm just worried about the safety. It's nice that everybody knows everybody around here and the safety of the flooding and the, you know, the sickness and all that. And then just a little shout out. My son was not doing well in reading on the STAR things last year. And his teacher, who is no longer here, but she was a first-year teacher, which I love, you know, the teachers here too, but that teacher pushed him and he got from the red to the needs improvement or like bad. I can't remember what the whole red, green, yellow thing is. He went to Exceeds in reading. They worked so hard and believed in him so well that he exceeded. And he was actually at the board meeting for his math this last time. He got the star achievement. He brought home last week the whole star achievement things that they sent out on reading and math. Like, they just make a difference, and I love them for it. That's all.
Thank you.
Right. Next up, Lexi Followay.
Hey, my name is Lexi. I'm just gonna kind of read over the emails that I sent each and every one of you. Thank you to Mark and Missy for emailing me back. I appreciate it. I'm a parent of a student here at Dunlow, and I'm also a citizen of Dunlow. I went to school here as well. We as a community are very concerned about Dunlow Genoa closing. There are multiple reasons why I think Dunlow should stay open. Small schools have more impact on students, more one-on-one time, more time to focus on student needs, their education, and ways that is better for each individual to learn. Our test scores prove that. Students feel at home here in our small school, where you would be taking that bond away from them and that trust, and the children here don't have that at all. We also already have the special needs facilities. Small schools provide more personalized attention for each child's needs. It is more safe than these larger schools. Our community will fail if our school closes. Families will not want to stay if we do not have anything here. Our kids will lose opportunities such as the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program, Math Field Day, and robotics due to the population at larger schools. Our small school means staff members know each and every student personally. So that means they can prevent bullying, they can recognize social, mental, and emotional problems, where at a larger school, they're just another number. Overpopulation and overcrowded classrooms is another concern. With the other schools that may be closing permanent due to it falling in the river, those children will expand to crime as well, which will lead to overfilled classrooms. The longer bus routes due to further schools. Some of the children here already go on the bus at 6:15 in the morning. And that is absurd for an elementary student to go on the bus that early. Small elementary students being on the bus with older high school students. Most parents do not even want to send our children to crime due to the previous issues that have happened in the past year. We want to keep our school open, and we agree to consolidate with Genoa Elementary as well. We also have the option to completely take our children out of Wayne County schools, or we could even homeschool. And also, I would like for you all to remember that this property is owned by a local family and it cannot be sold, whereas Genoa property could be. Thank you for your time, and I pray that each and every one of you can find it in your hearts to put yourselves in our shoes and consider keeping our school open or consolidating. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment section. Now, we have a series of hearings throughout the week. The hearings continue tomorrow at Crum. We will be at Genoa on Thursday, and then East Lynn and Wayne, depending on the water situation. There will be hearings that evening. Location will likely be at East Lynn and Wayne. And then next Tuesday, the board will make its final decision on the future of the schools. And so the board will continue to receive comment for the remainder of the week and then make a decision next week.
Right. Is there any?
How do we know what the decision is?
It's a public meeting. The meetings are live streamed, or you can attend the meeting.
Is there any other questions?
Mark Mayer standing back there, let's get his resolution on this. He's in.
Or I left the finance committee meeting in the middle of it and drove right here. I didn't realize it was signed.
Do you want to make some comments?
I would like to.
Sure.
I appreciate you, Craig, appreciate you offering the, yeah, I'm definitely in favor of keeping Dunlow open and as well as Genoa. I think the education that you receive at a small school, the lady back there that was speaking after Delegate Dillon, really made some great points, which heard a lot of great points, that, the closest to home and, education, you're not gonna see it's not a profit and loss thing where it's gonna cost money to educate and it's just, we need to not look at the money that's involved in educating our kids because that's part of the process. Which I made a post last night and I'm so thankful to the superintendent for sitting down with me and crunching numbers with me last Friday, but I don't know if it's been addressed here tonight, but we've got, I think, 142 too many employees in the county, and I feel like that Genoa and Dunlow is kind of like an easy target that we can, just cancel out and not have the expenses of these schools. So I have a quick question for the superintendent. Did you ever find out on average how many staff and professional employees of the county retire on average every year?
A rough number is 20. I'm double checking that number, but that was the initial number I've been given.
Yeah, I don't know that it would work, but there's kind of like by attrition, the 20 people that retire, that way we could save jobs if we don't rehire, but that everybody that's currently in place would keep their job and just, each year, and that would save a little bit of money. Another quick question, you may have already said this, what total money are you looking at by saving by not opening or closing Genoa and Dunlow?
1.6 million annually.
Yeah. I did some crude math, and with the amount of extra employees that we have that we don't get allotted from the state is $8 million per year. I base the salary on $60,000 a year, and I'm sure some of them are more, some of them are less. So, with that,
Why don't you cut some of the
yeah, I don't even know which positions are.
I mean,
So,
$250,000 a year or kid.
that's just some ideas that I had, if we're spending $8 million extra per year on employees in the county that the state says we don't need. I realize they put hard regulations and, they maybe base it on a big number in the classroom. But I think this is when we go to the state and say, hey, you're being unfair. We need this amount of employees and we need, which definitely when the formula, gets changed. But I kind of feel like it should have been done years ago when we saw this, headed in the wrong direction. But I'll be up there in Charleston and Delegate Dillon to do whatever we can do. I'm sure that he wants to save this school and Genoa too, because there's nothing like a small community school to get an education. So, thank you all.
All right, that concludes the hearing for this evening. Again, we want to thank you all for coming out and taking your time to share with us all your concerns. And we will take all your comments, and we do not take this situation lightly. I do want you to know that we will review everything completely and thoughtfully, and hopefully we can come to a decision. So, but thank you again for coming and sharing with us. We appreciate it.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second,
I'll second.
second, Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. It is 6:41.
We need to hang on to this or not.
Yeah, that booklet,
Hang on to it.
yeah. that's the
Give
closure
this back
booklet
to
I
you.
gave you. Let me turn off the screen.